All right, let's jump right in. We're about to explore one of the most incredible stories of human migration ever. Seriously, it's an epic tale about a journey across a lost world of ice. A journey that eventually led people to fill two entire continents.
It's a really good question, right? And it's one scientists have been piecing together for a long, long time. And the answer, well, it's not what you might think. It wasn't about boats sailing across the huge Pacific or Atlantic. Nope. It was something way more incredible, something that came straight out of the last ice age.
So, the key to this entire mystery is a place called Beringia. Now, this was a real physical land bridge that connected what we now call Siberia and Alaska. But wait a minute, how on earth could a giant piece of land just pop up where there's now an ocean? That's the big question.
To get our heads around that, we've got to take a trip back in time, way back, to a world that looked completely different from ours, a world pretty much dominated by ice.
And the scale here is just mind-boggling. I mean, picture these enormous glaciers, miles thick, blanketing a huge chunk of the northern hemisphere. All that frozen water had to come from somewhere, right? And it came from the oceans. So with sea levels dropping like hundreds of feet, all this land that used to be underwater, well, it was suddenly high and dry.
And listen, when we say land bridge, don't picture some skinny little path. No way. Beringia was a massive landscape. It was basically a subcontinent, hundreds of miles wide. Sure, it was cold, it was dry, it was windswept, but it was also teeming with life.
This really puts it into perspective. Look at the difference. On one side, you've got the Ice Age world, that land connection, giant mammoths roaming around. And on the other side, you've got today, the Bering Strait, just open ocean separating the continents. It's like looking at two totally different planets.
Okay, so the stage is set. We've got this land bridge connecting two continents. But who were the people who actually made the trek? And why? Well, the answer is pretty straightforward. They were just following their food.
These first people were incredibly skilled hunter-gatherers from Asia. And you have to remember, they weren't thinking, let's go discover a new world. That wasn't on their radar at all. Their entire lives revolved around the movement of these huge herds. So they were just following their dinner across this massive plain, probably with no idea they were walking onto a brand new continent.
And this is so important to grasp. This wasn't like a weekend trip. This whole migration took place over thousands of years. Think about that. We're talking about dozens, maybe even hundreds of generations being born and living their lives on this journey, slowly, step by step, pushing from Asia, across Beringia, and eventually deep into the Americas.
You know, you might think getting there was the hard part, but actually, surviving in this brand new, completely unknown, and pretty hostile place, that was the real test. The ultimate test of human smarts and toughness. And the dangers they faced were just huge. The climate, brutally cold. And they weren't alone out there. They were sharing the land with some seriously scary predators, like giant short-faced bears. We're talking animals that would tower over them, and of course, saber-toothed cats. Every single day was a fight to find food and find a safe place to sleep. But here's what I think is the most incredible part of this whole story. These early pioneers, they weren't just taking it. They weren't just enduring it all. No, they were actively solving problems. They were adapting. They were innovating with new technology. They figured out ways to actually thrive.
Their survival toolkit was really the key. They came up with these amazing stone tools, like special spear points that were super effective against those giant animals. They had fire completely mastered, not just for warmth, but for cooking and, scaring away those giant bears. And they figured out how to make new kinds of clothing and shelters just to handle that bone-chilling cold. So this is an incredible story, for sure. But you might be wondering, how do we know any of this is true? Well, that's where modern science steps in, giving us the tools to read the clues these ancient people left for us.
Basically, scientists have two main streams of evidence. First, you've got the archaeologists. They're the ones digging up the physical proof. The old stone spear points, the remains of ancient campfires, even the bones of Ice Age animals that were hunted. Then, at the same time, you have geneticists who have found these undeniable DNA links between modern indigenous peoples in the Americas and ancient groups in Asia. It's like a genetic roadmap that confirms the whole route.
So, what's the big picture here? What did this amazing journey actually lead to? Well, it was nothing less than the dawn of a completely new chapter for humankind. Think about this.
Every single indigenous person in North and South America today is a descendant of these original pioneers. That one long drawn-out migration became the starting point for thousands of different cultures and languages that grew and thrived over the next several thousand years.
Their arrival really set everything in motion. It started this chain of events that completely transformed the continents. I mean, over thousands of years, their descendants figured out agriculture, they started building villages, and eventually they created these huge, complex societies. We're talking about the Maya, the Aztec, the Inca. It all started here.
When you really boil it down, the story of the first Americans is a story about all of us, isn't it? It's just this powerful reminder of our species' natural curiosity, our amazing ability to survive, and that restless feeling, that unstoppable drive to just go and see what's over the next hill.
Their great journey was across a continent made of ice. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? As we're looking up at the stars or down into the deepest parts of our oceans, what's going to be our next great human journey?